When people think of the Grand National, they usually think of drama.
Tape, they're snagged on the tape, and it's a recall. It's a recall. It was.
They think of mud, chaos, fallers, impossible recoveries, and those unforgettable moments when horse and rider somehow emerge from the storm and keep going. But the Grand National is not just a race, it is a landscape, and that landscape has names that are almost as famous as the horses themselves. Beecher's Brook, Canal Turn, Valentine's, Foinavon, the Chair. Even to people who do not follow racing closely, those names mean something. They sound legendary. They sound dangerous. They sound like places where history happens, and that is because they are. The Grand National's fences are more than just obstacles. They are pieces of racing history, and the stories behind them are every bit as compelling as the race itself. So in this video, we are going through the most famous fences in the Grand National and uncovering the stories behind their names. Because these are not just jumps, they are landmarks of sporting legend. Before we get to the stories themselves, it is worth remembering what makes Aintree so special. The Grand National course is unlike anything else in British racing. If there is one fence that captures the spirit of the Grand National better than any other, it is Beecher's Brook. The name comes from Captain Martin Beecher, a rider in the first official Grand National in 1839. According to the long-told story, he ended up in the brook on the landing side and stayed there while the rest of the field thundered over him. That moment gave the fence its name, and from then on, Beecher's Brook became part of Grand National folklore. If Beecher's Brook is the fence most associated with danger, then Foinavon is the fence most associated with chaos. Unlike some of the older names at Aintree, Foinavon is not rooted in the Victorian past. It came much later, but the story behind it is so extraordinary that it earned its place in Grand National folklore almost instantly. The name comes from the 1967 Grand National, one of the strangest and most dramatic runnings in the race's history.
Rutherford's lost a bit of ground there, but he's all right, and they're turning out of the fence after Beecher's, and as they do, the leader is Castle Falls, with Rutherford's along the inside, and Rutherford has been hampered, and so has Castle Falls. Ronghetto has fallen, Principal has fallen, Norther has fallen, Curtin Lad has fallen, the Fossa has fallen. There's a right pile-up. Leedsy has climbed over the fence and left his jockey there, and now with all this mayhem, Foinavon has gone off on his own. He's about 50, 100 yards in front of everything else. They're all pulling up, having a look now to see what's happening at the fence. Ozzy is jumping over it now. Quinton Bay is climbing over it. And as they go now to the Canal Turn, the one that's going to the Canal Turn happens to be Foinavon. And he's 100 yards in front of Turtle Lad, and then comes packed home. Quinton Bay and Ozzy together. Greek Scholar is next, and the mess is almost over now as they're coming now to Valentine's. At least when I say they're coming, it's Foinavon who's coming. And he is roughly 200 yards in front of everything else. Foinavon, Ozzy is second, Packed Home is third, and then come Quinton Bay and Greek Scholar together over Valentine's. Well, the leader is at the fence ahead. That's Foinavon, and over to Michael Seth Smith.
Well, this is the most incredible national. Foinavon, I've never seen a horse at this stage of the race so far. He's going quite easily. He ran in the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and we didn't think much of his chance there, but as he comes to the next, he's nearly a fence in front, and he jumps in, and he's jumping very well. This blinkered horse, Foinavon, he's literally 200 yards in front of the second horse, who's Packed Home, and then comes Ozzy, and behind them Greek Scholar. Terry Biddlecombe trying to make up the ground, but Foinavon's going so well, I don't think he can possibly be caught, but he jumped the next rather badly. He's still over 100 yards in front. Ozzy in second place. Terry Biddlecombe coming up, full of running on Greek Scholar, but they're a long way back. It's just a question of whether Foinavon can maintain his lead, and as he goes over the Melling Road again at Anchor Bridge, he's still over 150 yards in front, with Terry Biddlecombe on Greek Scholar in second place, trying to get on terms. Ozzy third, Packed Home fourth, and with that, back to the grandstand.
Still a long way clear. Foinavon, the only one that missed the melee at Beecher's, with Greek Scholar chasing him now. Then comes Ozzy, then comes Packed Home. Honey End is finishing like a train just in behind him, and it's still Foinavon a long way clear from Greek Scholar in second place. Ozzy is third. Honey End has now moved into fourth, and he's running on like a train behind him. But coming to the second last now, it's Foinavon and John Buckingham. Blinkered Foinavon a long way clear. Greek Scholar is second. Honey End is fourth. Coming to the second last in the national now, and Foinavon is over. He's towering, but he's well clear. Greek Scholar and Honey End jumping together. Honey End's jumped in second. He's moved into second place now. Coming to the final fence, and Foinavon a long way clear of Honey End in second place. Greek Scholar is third. It may still be a race. Honey End is still making ground, but Foinavon is over and clear, about 150 yards ahead of Honey End, who's still driving on into second place. Third is Greek Scholar. Fourth is Red Alligator, who's finishing fast. Then comes Packed Home, but it's Foinavon holding Honey End as they race towards the line. Foinavon, the unconsidered outsider, and John Buckingham holding Josh Gifford on Honey End. Then comes Greek Scholar and Red Alligator. They're racing up towards the line now, and it's Foinavon who missed that melee at Beecher's, going well clear to a fantastic Grand National triumph. Honey End is second. Red Alligator's coming up to be third, and at the line John Buckingham looks over his shoulder, sees there's no danger, ears pricked. Foinavon wins the national.
He was a 100-to-1 outsider, a horse with little expectation attached to him. That moment transformed both the race and the fence forever. The Canal Turn sounds simple, but there is nothing simple about it. Named after the nearby, the Leeds and Liverpool Canal, it became famous because horses must land and almost instantly swing sharply left, often in the middle of a packed, charging field. It is a split-second test of rhythm, balance, and control, and when a full field arrives there together, it can look like absolute bedlam. In the early days, loose horses could carry straight on and end up in the canal itself, which only added to the fence's mythology. At Aintree, even the bend has a story. Valentine's Brook was originally known as Second Brook, but it took its name from a horse called Valentine in the 1840 Grand National. The story goes that he cleared it in such a strange, awkward way that people later described it as if he had jumped it hind legs first. If any fence at Aintree feels like a reckoning, it is the chair. Named after the old distance judge's chair beside the fence, it is jumped only once and is still the tallest fence on the course today at about 5 feet 2 inches, with a ditch in front to make it even more demanding.
I can remember standing in front of me, he said, "Mick Fitzgerald, you've just won the Grand National, how do you feel?" And I said, "Des, after that, even sex is an anticlimax."
What a quote.